Hello everyone and welcome back to EVE Market, your weekly look at the amarr market. We're gonna look straight off towards the mineral prices. Again, recording close after downtime, we see these spikes again. I need to see I can record before downtime next time, because yeah, this is not gonna happen. Oh, by the way, one other thing, next week, don't count on a video. I have a birthday party on Saturday evening. And I'm already going there on Saturday afternoon, and I'll probably be pretty late back on the Sunday afternoon, so there's just no market video coming up next week, so you know that already. So titanium, unfortunately I cannot see really what it's doing as done the last week. It seems to be pretty much on the same line, doing a lot after this bad data point again. So we're gonna look straight at the prices. Seller's price 6.11, buyer's price, we dropped below the 6x for that, 5.95, so at least dropped compared to last week's price, because that was 6.04. So at least we have dropped below the 6x on the titanium of the buyer's price, so that's already a lot better. Still, the decent size orders up here. And there's a decent amount on the market too. And ferrite, see on selling point, but we can at least see a little bit more what it's doing. It has been going up and down, sitting pretty much around the range of the 1150. You can clearly see here for the last few days it has more tending to drop towards the 11-ish. Now then still above the 1150, but it looks more like ferrite is trying to drop in price. Well, we can clearly see the 5-day average is dropping. 20 days is not doing that yet. Still slightly on an up. But again, with 5 days it's clearly starting to drop a bit. So ferrite looks like it's trying to drop in price. Seller's price 11.59. Buyer's price, there are not too many buy orders up anymore for ferrite. 10.96. It definitely dropped a decent amount, because last week's price was 11.27. So it has dropped a decent amount for this. Amount of orders, it's not too huge at least. Outside amarr another 30. But yeah, and really, was one buying it for 12-ish? Wow. So yeah, ferrite is definitely starting to drop here in amarr on the prices. You can also clearly see the 5-day. We've got 20 days, probably gonna take 1 or 2 more days before that one also start moving down. Maxillon still going up. It's been going up this whole week. There's no end to it. Today we're sitting definitely a lot lower, but then again, didn't hit the amount of sales yet. We're like halfway, not even halfway for that, but at least the whole week Maxillon has been going up in price, and that's surely gonna keep on going. Seller's price 61.48, buyer's price 58.45. It's indeed higher than last week's price. 58.08 was last week's price for Maxillon. Definitely gonna keep on going next week also on the uptrend on price for the Maxillon. Hydrogen on the other hand has still been dropping in price, still very slow drop, making a little bit quicker drop for the last 4 days suddenly, making a faster drop, sitting now below the 100 on average price. 5-day clearly also starting to see it's starting to drop, and the 20-day average is still sitting flat on the 100 line, but I'm sure this one is starting to follow pretty soon in the next few days. So hydrogen definitely dropping, not too many buyers already. Seller's price 101, and just rounded this up for the sellers, and for the buyers 95.45. That's a decent drop of it, because there are not too many buyers. I may even set up my own order soon. Last week's price 99.32. was last week's price, so that's a decent drop for the Isogen. It's getting close to the record bottom point even, that I have recorded. It's not too far from it off. So definitely Isogen is a very, very low price at the moment. Then we go on for Noxium. Looks like Noxium has reached its highest point at the moment again, because it's definitely starting to drop in price. You can see the 5-day average starting to drop here on this curve suddenly. 20-day average also starting to respond for that. So I see a few more average prices more around the 460. For today we're sitting even below the 460 already. A little bit early here last week. I definitely gonna expect this one next week to keep on dropping in price. So it looks definitely it hit its highest point. It was a week ago here. This spike, especially this one, that was a really high price, above 500. That was the highest point Noxium got to it, and it's now clearly starting to drop. Seller's price 470 for the sellers. For the buyers 452.53. That clearly has dropped compared to last week. That was 455.32. So clearly that has been dropping. Now Zynrid is still going up. It was last week pretty high. There was a pretty high sales here. Sunday, Saturday, Friday, Thursday, Wednesday. We had a pretty big amount of sales on Zynrid. But it didn't have any effect on the price. It just keeps on going on the same line up. And we're starting to head towards the 1200. This keeps on going up. We're definitely gonna hit somewhere at the end of the week. We're gonna hit about 1200 for the Zynrid price. For sure. For the sellers, we're sitting at 1164.93. For the buyers, we're sitting at 1090. Clearly high because last week's price was 1000. So it seems to be going up about almost 100 per week now for Zynrid. Then we got Megasite. Megasite is surprisingly dropping. It looks like Megasite is starting to get cheaper than Zynrid. That's surprisingly. Huge sales yesterday, by the way, on Megasite. It did got this early this week, pretty high, almost to the 1250. But then it decided to straight away start dropping to the 1150, and we're sitting now at 1100, slightly below it. So Megasite and Zynrid, there's a weird thing going on with these two. Zynrid is going up, Megasite is dropping. Surprisingly, I think Zynrid is not going to go up too much longer. But Megasite is surprisingly dropping. Let's look at the prices, see if there's a lot of difference. There's not. Seller's price for Megasite 1145. Buyers 1070. Last week's price 1110 for Megasite. And we have currently only 20 is difference in the buyer's price between Zynrid and Megasite. 20 is only. And surprisingly, Zynrid is more expensive than Megasite at the moment. That's yeah, something I haven't seen yet. Not really, since I doing this big business in market. But that's surprising that Zynrid and Megasite has turned around, because normal Megasite is more expensive than Zynrid, and it's not anymore. Really surprising about that. And last mineral, Morphite. Morphite had a pretty big up in around the middle of the week. Went up to 11,500. There was even here a point where almost 11,800 on average price. But somewhere in the middle of the week it got around 11,500 for 3 days. After that it started dropping again. We dropped suddenly from that towards 10,800. That's almost 1,000 drop. Then it went back up to 11,200 and starting to drop again. But then again, Morphyte is always jumping around pretty a lot on that. 11,050 for the sellers and 10,672 for the buyers. That went down in price. Last week's price 10,901. Then we go for some regular salvage. It's been sold here. Armor plates has been going up mostly of the week, except for the last 2 days. It's starting to drop in price again. Hitting around 96,500 looks like it. No, 97,000 we have hit around that price. We can clearly see now it's starting to drop again in price. Sales amount pretty normal. Armor plates dropping in price very clearly. Not too many buyers, pretty low on buyers, but still buyers price pretty good. Sellers price on the other hand has gone pretty up. I'm surprised that graph says no, we're going down in price here for the last 2 days. I think this is gonna go back up next week, because currently seller's price is 105,490 is the seller's price. That's going up pretty quickly. It's almost got already about 3,500 difference between sellers and buyers. Buyer's price 96,548. That was slightly up. Last week's price 96,540. So there's not a lot of difference in that. But there are not too many sellers currently on the market, because this is the first one over 1,000. These can get sold out pretty quick. And we probably may see even increased price of armor plates. But it has only been going up slightly this week, not a lot. But in logic circuits, they haven't stopped going up yet. They're still going up. They were pretty high here, 69,000 per unit average per day for 2 days in a row. Dropped below the 66,000, but quickly recovered again towards 68 and climbing again towards 69,000. This one just keeps on going up. There's no end to it. Also next week that one is definitely gonna go up. Seller's price 72,000. It's more than 500 units, because they are just all not reaching. And then the buy is 68,200. Surprisingly, this is lower than last week. So the buyer's price starting to drop on burn logic circuits. Graph says that it's still going up, because I can imagine that people buying it straight from the sellers is gonna make the price rise pretty quickly, because they're pretty small amounts. But on the buyer side we are starting to drop in price, because last week's price was 69,005 is, and we now say like 68,200. So definitely has a drop in that price. So we may see a drop in buyer's price, or some orders just got fulfilled, some small ones, and new ones gonna pop up soon. Still, I'm expecting this one to start going up next week. Friday interface circuits making a huge drop for the last 3 days. It has been going up for like most of the week. It's been going up in price, but suddenly for the last 3 days, starting on Friday, this is Saturday and this is the Sunday, we're making a huge drop in price. Even the 20-day average already responding to that, starting to drop. So that means it's really a big drop in price. It's suddenly dropping below 4,700 for Friday interface circuits. Very quick drop on that. Seller's price is still 5,100 for the Friday interface circuits, and the buyer's price is now currently 4,691. It's a pretty decent drop. Last week's price 4,965. So it has dropped a decent amount. If this is gonna keep on going next week, this low price, I think maybe for a few days, and then maybe starting to go up again. Multi-capacitor consoles are surprisingly starting a little bit of movement in here suddenly this day. We have here a very high price of 10,500 per unit average on the day. Which day was that here? That was the 27. That was Wednesday, I think. Sunday, Saturday, Friday, Thursday, Wednesday indeed. Wednesday has been 22,000 units been sold with the lowest price of 10,498 and the highest price of 10,498. Wow, that's and still that's about 10,500 average price for the whole day. And still there has been 22,000 units sold. As there was apparently that day really huge shortage then on multi-capacitor consoles that day, and were being sold for a very high price and people bought it. But that was only for one day, and then we're straight starting to drop again towards looks about 8,250 now. We still see a slight uptrend in the price for these again. It's definitely starting to go up more and more slowly. But to see always a small drop here for today. For now it's still sitting in the 8,000 region. And expecting this more to stay in that range, and it's starting to go up even more. Sellers prices. Well, if you're gonna look more than 500 units, we're gonna drop almost towards the 10,000 per unit. 9,950. That's really high, and you can see the amount that's on the market is really low. The first really decent side order is right here, also close to the 10,000, and there's a bigger one here that's over the 10,000 already. So we see definitely more bigger shortage of multi-capacitor consoles here on the market. For that, also buyer's price 8,250 is definitely starting to go up on that, and expecting these one maybe to stay on. It looks like not really a lot of people are interested in buying this anymore in amarr. Last week's price was still flat 8,000, so it definitely went up with 250. But makes a new record price for this. And misplaced that one. Alright, so there's a new record price of multi-capacitor consoles currently since I recorded it. Then, the power circuits. The power circuit has been pretty much stable in the beginning of the week, and for the last 4 days we're starting to drop again in price a bit, heading towards more than 28,000. Then again for today we're starting to go a little bit up again on the average price. Pretty much sitting still sitting between the 28 and the 30,000 mark. But now then a drop below and above it, it's pretty much the range where it's gonna stay at. Sellers 30,554, that's more than 500 units. And for the buyers at 28,516. That's a decent drop even compared to last week. That was 31,000 per unit last week's price, so that's a decent size drop on that. Then a quick look at Plex, what that's one doing. That's suddenly making a drop. Wow. We hit this week, we hit 1,230,000,000 almost. That was the top price this week we reached. Excuse me, pretty much at the beginning of the week. And then we're suddenly starting to drop in price to almost 1,160,000,000. We're seeing a slight uptrend again on Saturday. For today, we're seeing a little bit lower, so we're sitting suddenly in a range from around to 1,170,000,000. So, Plex suddenly making a drop in price. Seller price 1,180,000,000 for the Plex, and for the buyers is at 1,159,000,000. That is definitely has dropped in price. Last week's price 1,195,000,000. So we're seeing a decent drop in the Plex prices. So this was this week's look at the amarr market. We'll see you all next, not next week, no, over 2 weeks again. Then we will be back again with the market video, because I just don't have time for it to do it next week. So thanks for watching. I see you all in 2 weeks, and fly safe.